Alex, I'm gonna put it back on mute. I just wanted to make sure I could hear.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly fine. Thank you.
Copy well. Nice.
He's a meeting.
Yes.
I'd like to call to order the regular city commission meeting for June 15th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Please have roll call.
Commissioner Drosky,
Here.
Commissioner Newland,
Here.
Commissioner Plans,
Here.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Here.
Mayor Gnaws.
Here. Excellent. Will you please stand for a moment of silence and our pledge of allegiance? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we have approval of the city commission meeting minutes for a regular city commission meeting of May 18th, 2021.
So move.
Second. Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Acknowledgement of our city board meeting minutes for the community appearance board for May 12th, 2021. The education advisory board meeting minutes from March 7th and April 7th, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And we have our approval of our agenda tonight for June 15th, 2021. It's my understanding that one item has been pulled. That is item number 13.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. Item number 13, at the request of the applicant, they've requested to table that item. So the commission would just amend the agenda to reflect item number 13 be removed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to approve with 13 removed. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Madam Clerk.
For members of the public wishing to provide comments during tonight's meeting, 3 minutes will be provided. However, 1 additional minute will be granted by Mayor Gnaws. Anyone connected online via Zoom video must hover the mouse at the bottom of the screen, click the participants tab, and on the right, click raise hand. You will be recognized by your profile name and your audio will be unmuted. For anyone participating via mobile or landline, dial *9 to raise your hand. You will be recognized by the last 3 digits of your phone number. Dial *6 to unmute if necessary. These instructions are also being sent in the chat.
Thank you. Is Jay Mockbell and Steve Maddock here? Excellent. Tonight we're going to give out a certificate of appreciation to Jay Mockbell and Steve Maddock of Torito Brands, which is Nature Gnaws, for their commitment to the Deerfield Beach community for conducting a beach cleanup on Earth Day. Headquartered here in Deerfield Beach, Florida, Nature Gnaws is a family-run business sourcing 100% natural dog chews from farmers around the world so that all dogs can gnaw on natural, simple, and delicious chews. Their company was founded in 2016 by Steve and Jay in the garage. Today, their commitment to using the best ingredients in their products is why they are now the fastest growing dog chew company in the United States, expanding from 1 to 200 different products in just a few short years. Nature Gnaws products can be found at Amazon, Chewy, Costco, Petco, Walmart, and Target. Located in our Quiet Waters Industrial Park, Nature Gnaws just renewed their lease for 4 more years and doubled in size to 42,000 square feet. The company employs 65 people here and is currently hiring new staff. Founder Steve and Jake wanted to instill a sense of community in their staff and invited them to a beach cleanup on Earth Day to honor the city that has embraced them. They believe in the importance of sharing their values of responsibility with their staff while supporting the environment and having fun. The city of Deerfield Beach thanks Nature's Gnaws and wishes them all the success in the world. And thank you so much for giving back to the community. Thank you. Hey, Jay. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Stay safe. Few words. Go right ahead.
Guys.
The next item on our agenda is a certificate of appreciation presented to the Kids of Love Foundation for their dedication to the city of Deerfield Beach, conducting a beach cleanup to honor Armed Forces Day. On May 15, 2021, Armed Forces Day, the Kids of Love Foundation Incorporated provided 90 Marine Corps recruits and volunteers and collected over 150 pounds of debris from our beautiful beach. The city wishes to thank them for their great example of community service with this certificate, and we thank you so much for your time and your love for our city. Thank you so much. You all like to speak?
Kids of Love is a foundation that was started by my youngest of 6 children when he was in 3rd grade. He is now a Marine serving our country in Japan, and the recruits that we are shipping out to Paris Island constantly work with us to do all kinds of projects, from giving out food, whether it be in Deerfield Beach or other cities, to doing the beach cleanup, which was Sergeant Ingram's project, and she deserves the credit for the things. We basically just had a bunch of sponsors that sponsor us, because if you don't know what Kids of Love does, we do toys and snacks at children's hospitals, Sailor in Coral Springs, Sailor downtown, Joe DiMaggio, twice a week, plus other hospitals in other states or in other counties. Keep it in mind that September is coming up. We'll be doing another beach cleanup and other things, for the simple reason that it's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and we still lose 1 out of every 5 children that become diagnosed with cancer.
Thank you so much.
Someone can take all of them.
With your permission, Mayor, I'd like to give each person a just a little thing from Kids of Love for appreciation of the city honoring us and having us do this.
Thank you very much. I think the city attorney is probably getting nervous with it.
Hopefully it's valued at $5 or less for the categories. All right. Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. Appreciate it.
On Friday, May 14th, 2021, Deerfield Beach Ocean Rescue was named the 2020 Beach Patrol of the Year of the Florida Beach Patrol Chiefs Association of Orlando at the 2019 and 2020 Surf Lifesaving Awards banquet. Because it was almost impossible for us to meet the criteria for the individual award, as Deerfield Beach won in both 1997 and 2018 due to COVID this year. The Chiefs awarded the honor to a handful of beach patrols that remained open during the pandemic, keeping our beaches safe. Deerfield Beach is one of these patrols and continues to be recognized as the top tier of agencies in their industry. The city understands the importance of keeping staff on the beach to promote a safe environment and assist law enforcement during the pandemic, keeping our employees working during this trying time. Please join us in congratulating our lifeguards on this accomplishment, as we are very proud of them. Chief Brown, I know you're here tonight. If you don't mind coming down. Thank you, Chief. Commissioner Gazette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our beach patrol continually wins awards. And unfortunately, after tonight, no one knows about it. And I know for the last, probably when I first got on here, one of the things I asked was if we could have something on the pier that distinguishes all of the awards that are our ocean rescue, that our fire department, the Guinness Book of Records that we hold, so that the public can see this and be proud of our city. So I was just wondering what we can do to make sure that items like this stay in the public front with some kind of a plaque or something on the pier that allows the general public to see all of these awards that we continually win throughout the years. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think that's a fabulous idea. Let me look at and discuss that with staff. I'll be honest, the first thought that comes to mind is, we discussed within the realm of the CRA public art, and I don't know if there's opportunity there or perhaps a plaque, but I'm happy to discuss that with you and the rest of the commission to come up with something appropriate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have certificates of appreciation to our City of Deerfield Beach staff. The City of Deerfield Beach Parks and Crew installed a chain link fence back in October 15, 2019, kicking off phase 2 of the Rainforest project. For those of you who don't know the Rainforest project, you're missing out, because the Rainforest project is located in Constitution Park, in the western portion of Deerfield Beach, just off Hillsborough Boulevard, just east of the Target, near Powerline Road. This small effort of putting a fence up on October 15, 2019 was the first step in an incredible project. The staff got to work removing over 6 tons of soil and sculpting the landscape. By February 2020, the streams and lagoons had been etched into the ground and the waterfalls started to form. Just a few weeks later, the world would be shut down because of the coronavirus pandemic, but this pause allowed the team to step back, review the direction the project was going, and reevaluate. It took the talents of our engineering team, the voice of the Friends of the Arboretum, and the vision of the frontline staff, park staff, to develop the project beyond the previous design. More than 15 members of city park staff worked tirelessly on this project to ensure it was done at the highest level with an aim to provide a unique and tranquil experience to the community. This includes the installation of 1,141 plants, 15 pallets of sod, 350 cubic yards of mulch, 256 cubic yards of sandy soil, and the installation of 36 new irrigation rotary heads. The Deerfield Beach staff went above and far beyond to guarantee every detail of this dream project that we have. And recognizing the staff, we'd like to mention Veronia Precious Baker, who is a full-time city employee at Constitution Park and Arboretum. She's been with the city for over 25 years and at Constitution Park for the last 8 years. She holds multiple certifications in landscaping. Her knowledge and love of horticulture can be seen throughout that park. It is the park staff, like Precious, that make Deerfield Beach so beautiful and precious. Please join us in recognizing these staff and dedication to amazing do and improve rainforests in our art creek. Mike Purcell, Ricky Davis, Bobby McGee, William Jackson, Elgin Mallett, Eddie Sarrazin, Larry Johnson, Sammy Davis, Demetrius Butts, Calvin Orr, Bear Williams, Winfred Davenport, James Dowse, Gully Weston, Baronian Baker, Precious, and Joe Bird. And also, please congratulate and thank Steve Strobridge, Kenya Brown, Gerald Moore, Joseph Baker, David Cook, Darius Davis, Michael Gilbert, Michael Hunter, James Jackson, Dennis Mosley, Cedric Reed, James Royal, Joseph Smith, Eric Sylvan, Clint Wedderburn, John Melton, Priscilla Signoniak, Adele Treziano, and friends of the Deerfield Beach Arboretum. Thank you all so much for your hard work. Are any of you here tonight? Please stand. Thank you. That's what I have, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 5 tonight is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, considering a major site plan from DNS Funding LLC to demolish an existing one-story residential structure and construct a 2-story, 4-unit multifamily residential building with 2-car garages on the property located at 1941 Northeast First Street, approving 2 variances for the proposed, or considering 2 variances for the proposed development to permit an east side setback of 10 feet, remove the minimum 12.5 feet required by the city's land development code, and to permit a minimum lot width of 75 feet in lieu of the minimum 100 feet required by code. And that's case number 2553. It's my understanding that Ms. Dina Gray Esquire is here on behalf of the applicant tonight and has a presentation. Note that this does require a 4/5 affirmative vote of the commission to approve it. And Ms. Gray, after you come up and state your name and address, if you could just state on the record whether your client chooses to waive quasi-judicial or not. Thank you.
Good evening. Yes, we waive quasi-judicial.
Thank you. That's great.
Dina Gray. I am a land use attorney with Dennis Mealy at Green School Murder, and Dennis is his regrets he had a conflict tonight. We have a PowerPoint presentation for you, which is up on the screen. The property is located at 1941 Northeast First Street. Here's our first slide. This is the subject property that is outlined in blue. So you can see to the west is Northeast 19th Avenue, and to the south is Northeast 19th Terrace, and to the east, we can see 2 lots over is Kilwins, which is in the parking garage in the B1 zoning district. This property is, the subject property is zoned RM 25, so it is a 25 dwelling units per acre is allowed in this zoning district. We are proposing 4 units. Go to the next slide. Like this is from Ocean Drive facing west down Northeast First Street. So the subject property is just behind the parking garage. And as you can see on the opposite side of the street is also a 2-story building. Go to the next slide. This is the subject property, the structure in the center, the tannish orange building that is the subject property. And you can see there's 2 other structures on either side that are 1-story. You can see the parking garage there to the east. And next slide. So now this is Northeast First Street. When you're standing, that's the driveway just to the right. And if you're standing there, you're looking west. And in the distance is, I believe that's four stories, 4 or 5 stories. And then 2, you can see on the left-hand side is a 2-story. This is all multifamily units. Go to the next slide. Okay, now this is facing south. So if you were standing in the driveway of the subject property, this is, we're facing northeast 19th Terrace. So this is facing south. You can see multifamily. So this is directly across the street from the subject property. So you can see 2-story multifamily there on both sides of the street. And then in the distance, you can also see multifamily. I believe that's might be 6 stories. You can go to the next slide. So this is also northeast First Street and northeast 19th Terrace facing east. So facing towards the beach, Ocean Drive. You can see the parking garage on one side of the street, and then also the multifamily on the opposite side of the street, and then further down is commercial property. It's all B1 zone district. Go to the next slide. So now this is a rendering of our proposed project. We're proposing 4 dwelling units. These are townhomes, which are approximately 2,000 square feet each, which including the garage space. So they each have their own private garages, and they're all 4 are 2 bedrooms. As you can see, it's an aesthetically pleasing building. It has a beachy, coastal looking aesthetics to it, and it incorporates the components from the design elements from the coastal community architectural district. Go to the next slide. Now here are the elevations. This is the south and west, and it gives you an idea of the pitched roof here, which I'll talk about a couple slides later. But it gives you an idea of what it looks like and the components that were put into this to enhance the area and to beautify the surrounding neighborhood. Go to the next slide. So we are requesting 2 variances, and the first one is for the east side setback. So the code requires a 10-foot setback plus 1 foot for every 2 feet of building height. So the building is 25 feet. So instead of 10 feet, because we're going a little bit higher for the pitched roof, it requires a setback on the east side of 12 feet, 6 inches. So we're requesting a variance for 2 feet, 6 inches on the east side of the property. All other setbacks are met, so we're just requesting the setback variance for the east side. And the second variance that we're requesting is the minimum lot width, and the minimum lot width in the RM zoning district is 100 feet. And the property boundaries for this property, the lot width is 75 feet. So as is the case for many properties on the barrier island, it wasn't really intended for the smaller lots that are on the barrier island versus the majority of properties that are larger in the RM zoning district throughout the city. You can go to the next slide. So this slide just highlights the green is the boundaries of the lot, so that is where it shows you the 75 feet. And the yellowish orange line is the east side setback, which is showing the 10 feet that's required, or excuse me, the 12 feet 6 inches that's required because of the pitched roof. So if you can go to the next slide. So now this slide is showing you the elevations without the variance. So the code, the city code, that states like basically the higher you go, the greater the setback. So we're going up to 25 feet, which is well under the height restriction for the RM 25 zoning district. But because we're looking to make it look more aesthetically pleasing and give that beach look and to enhance that area. The design is to pitch the roof and it incorporates those design elements for the coastal beach district. So in showing you this, the purpose is for you to see the difference in the aesthetics. And having a flat roof is less expensive and easier to do, but the concept here is to make it look prettier. Go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the same slide from before, and it's just showing you the difference between putting the pitched roof on, and it makes it look significantly better, and it is a beautifying feature for that area. Go to the next slide. So this is the landscape plan. So as you can see, there's a significant landscape that will be installed. It will improve what is already there. They're exceeding code in terms of landscape, and it will help buffer and also add to the aesthetics. You go to the next slide. So now this slide here was an analysis that was prepared by the property owner. And what he did was he did an analysis of the single multifamily residences that are renting out those homes, so that you can get an idea of what the area is like there, that there are multiple rentals in this area, and he's looking to this, where you can see the yellow, that's the subject property. And the property owner is here tonight. His name is Mr. Lance Sherman, and he's here to answer questions, and he also intends to have his primary residence in one of the units. So he intends to be a on-site owner, and he's looking to sell the other units. And we did have a community meeting sometime back that we had virtually because of the pandemic. There were some concerns that were expressed by the community and the surrounding area in terms of, there was concern about transient people coming in and out. And when this townhouse project was before you 2 years ago, there was just some miscommunication in the sense that of the intentions of what the property owner wanted to do, as it was advertised by a former partner as an Airbnb, and that is not the intention of the property owner. And he unfortunately wasn't here at that time to answer those questions, but he is here tonight. And his intentions he will be living there, so he doesn't want transient turnover Airbnb where he's living with his wife. We have discussed, in order to help bring some comfort to the area, his intentions is to agree to a restriction that he will have a minimum of annual leases for at least the first 3 years that he's there, and he also is agreeing to no Airbnb, because that's not his intention to do that, and he is here to commit to his neighbors that is not what his intentions are. So he's willing to put a restriction of no Airbnb. And he's here tonight as well as the architect. I believe that we have some people that are calling in on Zoom that are in support of the project. Do you have any questions?
Before we do, I do need to turn it over to the city clerk as well as the city manager, if that's all right.
Sure.
Council Mayor Gaines. Pursuant to the City of Deerfield Beach Ordinance number 2009-006, the city's code of ethics, The applicant's representative, Ms. Gray, contribute campaign contributions to Commissioner Drosky on December 13, 2020, $500. Commissioner Hudak, January 28, 2019, $500. And Commissioner Gnaws, January 7, 2021, $500.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager. You have your light on? No? Okay. I apologize. Commission. Would you like to speak? Press the button. Yeah, that works. Okay, thank you. There we go. All right, Commissioner Hudak, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much for your presentation. I really do appreciate it. The challenges that I'm the commissioner for District 1, which is where this property would be located. And the challenges that have been expressed to me are, the concerns that this would turn into an Airbnb based on that advertisement that went out by the former owner. I think the property is actually very, very nice. And I really like the architecture. But I want to make sure that our residents, especially the ones in District 1, do feel comfortable with this property. So I just want to make sure that this outreach continues and that their concerns and challenges are addressed. I know there have been concerns about traffic. There's concerns about people parking on the street because there's not enough area when individuals have guests. And then, of course, the Airbnb question is still alive and well, unfortunately. I do know this area of Deerfield Beach Island has a lot of rental properties and a lot of properties that have multiple families living in them. So I'm very glad to hear about the annual lease provision that's going to be put into it. But again, what happens after 3 years? That's another concern that I want to explore a little bit more. Thank you.
You, Commissioner Drosky.
I actually lowered my hand. I want to hear from the public first.
Any commission members like to speak? Okay, is there anyone from the public who care to comment on this item? Name and address for the record, please.
Jane Shaffrin, 48 Northeast 19th Terrace. 2 years ago, the same applicant who owns a multi-million-dollar out-of-town Remax real estate business came before the commission with the same application asking for the same variances. It was rejected by the commission. There's no hardship on the part of the applicant. The commission said so. No hardship. In fact, it was brought to the commission's attention that the applicant had prematurely been actively marketing this fourplex plan to developers for about $3 million as a major moneymaker with Airbnb potential. His ad read you can fit 10 people in each 2-bedroom apartment. The bedroom apartments are only 1,400 square feet. That's 40 people crammed into 4 apartments on a lot that doesn't even meet minimum lot size requirements in a building that will be shoehorned sideways between 2 lovely single-family homes that have been part of this neighborhood for 50 years or more. My partner, Perry Victor, and I own and live in a historic 75-year-old single-family home down the street from the applicant's property. We're proud and protective of our close-knit community comprised of longtime homeowners and long lease tenants. The island has experienced ongoing unfortunate issues with Airbnbs that affect our quality of life and change the character of the neighborhood. Trash, drugs, noise, overcrowding, unruly strangers coming and going at all hours. In this hot seller's real estate market, the applicant will almost certainly resurrect that Airbnb sales pitch to developers, especially if he has his variances granted. No one is regulating his intentions. I am not against socially positive plan development, but rubber stamping variances so that developers can knock down and build on any available square footage, lot size requirements be damned, is the opposite of good planning. Our island is so important to Deerfield's economy. We need positive planning by those in local government and those who live here and cherish our future here. To that end, let's preserve the good, not tear it down. Let's abide by the law. No hardship, no variances. Simple. The applicant, a professional real estate entrepreneur, purchased the First Street property, knowing the law, the required minimum lot dimensions and regulations applicable to the site. And yet he's trying to push through the same rejected, disallowed plan from 2 years ago. I trust that you won't hand out variances like Halloween candy. Please give the residents who love and support our island a treat, not a trick. Abide by your original correct decision. Thank you. And as a visual aid, I'd like to call your attention to the fact that the 25-foot variance in lot width that the applicant is requesting is not some small insignificant amount of land. This is what 25 feet looks like. And it happens to be the whole length of my entire house. Here you go, 25 feet variance. There you go. It's not a little bit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. The support for anyone who speaks, but keep the meeting moving along. Katie's iPhone, I see, is hand raised.
Oh, I'm ready.
You have to come to the podium right now and hopefully call on someone who's online. If I saw another hand up, that's all right. If you'd like, come up to the podium. We'll be next.
I'll wait.
Okay. Katie?
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast 2nd Street, Deerfield Beach, Florida, 33441. When I agree with Ms. Shaffren that 2.5 feet closer to a property line allows for more overhang into the neighborhood and the neighbor's backyard on both sides. I'm tired of developers buying land and making the properties fit their design instead of their design fitting the properties. Airbnb rentals, no matter what, there is no one on this dais or in this city that is going to be able to follow up for the next 3 years to make sure that he does not rent it out on a regular basis, a weekly basis, as opposed to an annual lease. I don't believe for the life of me that that is his intent. I don't believe for the life of me that that is DNS's intent, and it's not the proper location. It's a family. We're looking for families to build in Deerfield, not more rentals. That is not a rental that is going to do anything but become a 100% tourist Airbnb within 2 years, because there's nobody on the dais or in this city that can block it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elise Miller Plotkin, 1998 Northeast 7th Street, Deerfield Beach. I live on the island. One thing, I worked for the census, did the census for the state, the United States, or whatever. So I walked up and down those streets. And First Street, you think they're private houses, but they're not. If you ask the people who lived there a month ago or 2 months ago, they don't know, because they're only there for a week at a time. So there are so many Airbnbs on the island now that this is, if you grant these variances, then you're letting the whole city be open to having Airbnbs all over the place. Deerfield Island will be one big Airbnb. And personally, I would like people with families to move to Deerfield Island to be a permanent place where people come with their families. Now, they showed a diagram of comparing their building to the buildings down the block on Northeast 19th Avenue, the multifamily right on the intercoastal over there and down the block. Well, if you know those properties, you know that they're all set back on the streets. They're not multifamilies. They have long parking spots in front, and they have parking lots on the side. So they have ample parking for all the residents in those buildings. Yes, they're 2 stories, but those are condos. And you can't compare this, that the building comes right up to the street. There's no parking in addition to the garages there. And there's no parking on that street allowed. So, and the only parking you have is the parking garage that's gonna cost people money to park their cars. You're gonna have visitors coming and parking in the parking garage that the city uses, that we don't even have enough parking spots for visitors to come. You're gonna have visitors that are coming to see these those four apartments that have, who knows how many people that have how many cars there. There won't be any parking for them. And right now, they're beautiful private houses. You're gonna be sticking this building that's gonna have so many families in the middle of this beautiful block with these historic houses, with this beautiful old tree in front of it, that's gonna be gone. And they have a beautiful swimming pool. Now, I don't know where those people are gonna sit. They're not gonna have backyards. They don't have little playgrounds if they're families with 2 bedrooms there. Where are those little kids gonna play? There's no place for that. So there's no good parking. And I don't believe that they're gonna make it rentals. I know where I live, it's townhouses. In the HOA rules, you're not allowed to have anything less, you can't rent them out for less than 6 months. So I doubt that after these 3 years, they're gonna keep to the rule of 1 year. They're either gonna be Airbnbs or they're gonna make it short-term rentals. And I'm really afraid that Deerfield Island will just be people coming and going. I know that by me.
Parker, would you like another minute?
Yes, another. Someone sold a property and then someone fixed up a property next door. And what they had to do was they had to put up bushes and a wall in between the properties because there was a family with children on this side. And they were afraid of the transients of what kind of people are going to be living short-term right next to them. And it was a big factor that worried them. So I hope that you don't grant variances now. Oh, one more thing. There's a big property on Northeast 4th Street between Northeast 19th Street and Northeast 20th Avenue that someone went bankrupt. They went bankrupt years ago. So there's a huge parking spot there, a big property that if somebody wanted to build multiple apartments, there's so much room there that somebody could have built something that would follow
If
the
we can
rules.
stick to this side, that's all right.
Yes, so I think it's really a terrible idea. I do. I'm totally.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else from the public who care to comment on this side? Sure, come on down. What's your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Rachel Anderson. I live on 1919 Northeast First Street. Neighborhood safety and keeping the city clean is a major concern. As we know, the city is not able to deny third-party rentals, and though we are told this is not going to happen, there's nothing in writing that can say it will not occur. These could consist of VRBO, Airbnb, Expedia, Priceline, and the list goes on. With that comes caution on how many people will be allowed. Will they be monitored? And what if the amount exceeds the safety of the building? This is a problem, especially if it's 4 units. Furthermore, the structure is not made to have more than 1 parking per bedroom, no guest spots. As we know, the city of Deerfield Beach, being a beach area, more than likely guests will arrive in cars. Parking garage is an option, however, it's never guaranteed, and we all know it fills quite often and fast. Which leads to many thinking the street is an option. Northeast First Street is one of the busiest outlets to get in and out of the neighborhood. The amount that will be added to clustering the road with a hazard, especially for emergency vehicles, along with regular business trucks, which can barely maneuver through based on the size of the road, 1 extra car parked on the side will lead to more than a little impact. The other concern with having an in-out transient people and not homeowners will lead to more usage of water and creating more waste, which can cause more stress to our water drought in addition to the city pipes that have been backing up. This is worrisome with a structure that could host 4 to 6 people when they try 8 to 10 per unit. I'm a witness to seeing this now. I had to get professional plumbing, which resulted in sinking 100 feet, which cleared out into the city lines, and have seen a few other residents around us have to get professional help as well. Lastly, with this structure, I can only imagine that there will be 2 trash bins per unit, 8 bins at one time on the side can happen. And if parking is an issue, I could not imagine how these bins will look to find space. As well to ensuring they follow the schedules with knowing all trash must be in the bins, no bags on the sides, and they will not be picked up if not. With people coming and going, will someone be responsible to take them in and out to keep the nature of this neighborhood in good health. Safety to the city and well-being to keeping it clean is important, and as this will help future issues arise for those not obeying the rules and regulations that come with this. This will not lead to our city feeling better for residents or tourists. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else from the public who care to speak? Is there anyone else from the public who would care to speak? Yeah, come on up.
Hello, my name is Abbas Switcher. I live at 1919 Northeast First Street, live next door. So they've come back with the same proposal, looking to do the same thing that doesn't benefit our town. There's a reason these rules are in place and why the same plan was unanimously rejected last time. There are definitely times when variance is needed and the town should grant an exception to the rules. This is not one of them. If it was somebody that was trying to make our community better, or at least part of our community, then we should look at it. But currently, there's little effort to maintain or better the property. There's no reason to believe it'll be any better with a multi-unit that can be Airbnb. I then know the developer has stated, despite owning a real estate firm that did 25 million in sales last year, he plans to move his family from their nice house into one of the 2-bedroom units, with no guest parking spots. And I like to take a man by his word. But we also have to accept that once we have gotten the exceptions, there's nothing we can do to keep him from happening, and no way to limit who he rents to, or if it is Airbnb out. And I am definitely not against Airbnb or development. But this project will not attract the best guests to our community. And at worst, there could be the potential to create a similar situation to the one we saw in the Cove on 4th Street. That took a lot of effort from the city to deal with, and was a constant headache for the community. We don't need anything else for our citizens and police to deal with in this beach community. It will fall on us to deal with the parking issues, and potential fights. Right now is our last option to say we want to keep the rules we have in place and not give this exception. This is not the direction we need to go to keep moving forward and improving this town. The rules were designed to keep multi-units like this from popping up between single-family homes and small lots. The rules are in place, and the precedent was confirmed by this very body 2 years ago. There's times to grant this variance, but this is not one of them. We should keep the rules the way they are and protect our town. I'd like to add also, to correct the record, it wasn't his partner that did the advertising, it's his picture on it. He was the one that was promoting it to be an Airbnb. And there's nothing we can do afterwards, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? No one else? Mr. Williams? Mr. Williams online?
Yes, can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you. You can speak up.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
I live at 1917 Northeast First Street.
Mr. Williams, I'm so sorry. We cannot hear you, unfortunately. You're on speaker?
Yes.
You'd probably be best to take yourself off speaker because we cannot hear you. Let's keep him alone and circle back. Is there anyone else from the public that care to speak to that? And let's see, let me see. Brady's. Ivy? Ivy?
Yes, Commissioner, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I am representing the Broward Women's Group, and we have a lot of functions in Deerfield Beach and enjoy the aesthetics of the area, and it is becoming too dense. And the site plan that is being proposed is too large for that piece of property. And I agree that the traffic is going to be affected in an adverse way, parking as well. And I asked the commission to reconsider their application.
Ivy, can you please give us your address for the record?
I currently reside in Pompano Beach, 801 South Federal Highway, apartment 218, Pompano Beach, 33062.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Williams, are you back? Doing this via Zoom is a lot of fun, guys. Just my apologies. I do want to, if Mr. Williams does come back, I want to give him the opportunity to speak. But I don't see anybody else right now. I'm going to, let me see, I'm going to message. I'm going to go ahead and close it to the public. I can reopen it should Mr. Williams come back. With that, Commissioner Drosky, do you want to speak?
Organize my notes.
I'm going to go with Commissioner Barnes, if that's all right.
Yeah, I have a question for our legal department. Anthony,
Yes, sir.
if we were to grant any variance to any group, could we put restrictions on it, such as no short-term rentals for 15 years? Would that be legal? If he wants a variance, we want a guarantee for the neighbors. Would that be legal?
So you do have the ability, Commissioner, to put conditions on approvals for land use items. However, I wouldn't recommend that type of restriction due to certain limitations in the law and certain state preemptions with respect to regulation. Now, the way I heard it was that the applicant represented voluntarily agreed to impose that restriction, which is a little different. And you could approve it with that condition if the commission wanted to approve the item that was represented by the applicant.
Okay, but without that, our hands are tied.
Right, but you did have that voluntary offer by the applicant. So if they want to voluntarily agree to that, I don't see an issue with making that a condition.
Okay, if they'll agree to it.
Right, but it's not one of the conditions or considerations in the city's land development code for consideration of a variance.
Understood, so I would ask the developer, are you willing to agree not to R&B or short-term rentals for 15 years in writing? If we grant this.
I just need a moment to speak with the property owner. I'd like to mention also that he's not a developer. He is, this isn't something that he does for a living in terms of building properties. So, but I do need to speak with him about your proposal, if that would be okay.
It's fine with me, but I couldn't vote to approve anything without a voluntary in writing agreement as such to satisfy the neighborhoods that it won't be an Airbnb or short rental.
I will speak with him.
Fine.
Thank you.
If I may, Commissioner, Ms. Gray, if I can ask you a question, you represented before, I think you offered a 3-year, as I heard it, I guess
Yes.
voluntarily offered a 3-year restriction limiting leasing to annual leases only.
That's correct.
Would that be done through a recorded declaration of restrictive covenants that's recorded in the public record, or what was your proposal to formalize that?
Typically, those type of provisions are put in homeowner HOA documents, so that's what he would be willing to do, is to put it in his homeowners.
Okay, so you'll have homeowners association documents which will be recorded in the public record. That was the proposal. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Ms. Gray, I'm good right now.
Well, let me ask you a question. Can HOAs change those documents by a vote?
HOA documents, I'm not an HOA attorney, but my understanding is they can be
Oh, okay.
amended.
Thank you.
However, we could put a condition, but I would defer to the city attorney. A condition of approval that for those to be amended, they would have to come back to this board. If that is something.
Once the building is built.
Yeah, I'm not sure we would want this, the city involved in that, that approval process with the HOA. I'm a local government attorney, but I have done some community association work. And generally the documents will speak to what's required to amend the documents themselves. So that would be up to whoever's preparing those documents to address, you know, what level of approval is required. You know, I would say customarily that's something that would require a member vote, meaning not just the board, but generally all of the homeowners. It's probably the custom, but not necessarily the requirement.
Ms. Gray, if I may, I want to apologize for missing our meeting that we had to discuss this project. So my apologies to the owner and to you for missing that meeting. So I do apologize for that. A couple of questions I have. If the gentleman who owns it is he's going to sell the other 3 units?
Yes.
Okay. So how is he going to enforce what those other 3 units do?
Through the homeowner association documents, and he plans on living in one. And so since he will be living in one, he'll be an on-site owner. So he will be aware of.
So he will have exactly the same rights as anybody else that would be in there, which would pretty much be none to control what people are doing with their own private unit. Do you agree?
Well, if you have homeowners association documents, there are restrictions that you can put.
Right, and I'm a former homeowner association president for a very long time. And what would happen when we want to change a rule, we could go around and we could take a petition and you get the majority of the HOA to make a change to it. With only 4 units, I would imagine that's a pretty easy hurdle to get over. So that doesn't really hold a lot of weight with me. I think you are promising something you might not be able to hold to if you're an individual owner and you have sold those other. Now, if he maintained ownership of that entire building, that would be a little bit different. But I believe as a single owner of that unit, he has no more rights to anybody else that would be in there. So any promises made here are going to be very difficult to hold to, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong. The other question I have, that is, yes, go right ahead.
Would you look at this
Sure.
property owner?
Come on up.
Lance Sherman.
Yes, you're welcome. If you could give your name and address for the record.
Lance Sherman, 7133 Northwest 45th Avenue in Coconut Creek.
Excellent. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so to clarify again, I would agree. And again, the sale part was to get just ownership rights that any person who built that development could want, which is the ability to sell. But I would agree not to sell the units for 5 years or whatever years are determined. This is, I'm not trying to, I know that it's coming at everybody from all directions as this is what he wants to do. I'm here, you can ask me any question. 100% willing to answer any of the easy questions, the hard questions, the why did you do this question, why did you advertise Airbnb stuff, and I have logical answers to everything because this is exactly what happened. So I would agree not to sell the units. My plan is to generate income from the units. I'm retiring and moving to Deerfield Beach, which I go to on almost a weekly basis. And I don't need Airbnbs to support myself for that building as well. So that's why I offered to do the yearly leases. I'm certainly looking to see who's going to live there next to me. When I lived in Deerfield, it was a 2-bedroom apartment. In the last 25 years, I've lived in a 3-bedroom home. So everybody who's saying, I make $25 million a year, everybody likes to be in everybody else's pocket. It's not, that's not the issue from the commission today. So I'm not selling the units. And I did have 1 unit which was pre-sold, and it's to a friend that I know for 28 years, and I have the right not to sell him the unit. I haven't even built it yet. I'm probably not even going to build for years because the construction costs are so high. So this is future, and all future. I'm just trying to have a future, retired to the beach. I have 1 child, she doesn't live with me. So it's just 2 of us who are moving to the beach. I don't need a 5,000 square foot mansion that people are managing. I don't know where this is coming from. But I agree not to sell the units and not to do those Airbnb stuff.
Yeah. So, since you're open to ask, you have questions to ask, I have a couple. The point that the gentleman had brought up about you said that it was another partner who would advertise as Airbnb, yet your picture was on that advertisement.
Okay, so here's the issue. The DNS funding is Dauber Insurance. That's where DNS came from, my last name is Sherman. So when we hooked up to buy this property, they wanted to build a 6 or 8 unit development. I decided I wanted to do something smaller since I want to move to the chain. So we had disagreements about what to do. I'm allowed to put 6 units based on the square footage of the lot. I can put 6 units and go up 3 or 4 stories. I'm putting 4 units and doing 2 stories with garages so I can move all the cars off the street. So this agreement turned into, okay, you want out, I'll buy you out. And then it was, well, what price do I buy you out? You're gonna be able to 4 units, 6 units. So we decided, you go put the advertisement for the property. Advertise that you can, sell it for $1 million. Who cares what you sell it for? And then that's the price I'll pay you for. So it was to his benefit to put an ad in there to try and say, hey, this, you can, as a developer, and I'm not a developer, I've never built anything to live in my life. So I gave him, and I'm the real estate agent, I'm the broker of my office for 25 years ago. Well known and respected there, and agents that have been there for 20 years ago. So I said, put the ad in, I'll give you free reign to do anything you want, get the highest price you can get and the highest offer that you get, and I'll give you half of that as a way of determining what should I buy you out of the project. That was the whole thing that happened. And it's now being all turned into a bigger story, which is not really fair to me, but I can't undo what was done. So mistakenly, I still have to buy him out. I'm determining what price to buy him out for is now been based upon what I build them for. And I don't know what I'm building now. So I'm still at a loss to figure out what I'm going to have to buy him out of. But it's going to be whatever he's going to ask for. He needs to be out of the project. What other? And someone mentioned garbage cans. It's a townhouse. You don't have one garbage can in front like everybody else does. You can park your cars in the garage. The garage fits 2 cars. We made the driveways wide enough so you can have cars coming in both directions. No cars are going to block up the cars. It's going to be, the lot now has green grass in front. Everybody parks on the grass when it's go to the beach time. And that doesn't look good. The property is being now used as multifamily. The property next door is multifamily. Probably behind is multifamily. Probably in front of me. I'm not doing anything that is not being done in the neighborhood. I'm trying not to do something where I'm the only guy in the island that everybody's hopping on to say, oh, let's put a restriction on this guy. Let's make sure you can't do this. I'm the only guy in the island that has no rights to do anything with this property 10 years from now, 15 years from now. I don't know. My daughter will probably own property 15 years. I don't know. But I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm going to pause you for one moment. Anyone in the audience, please, any comments that you have, keep to yourself. If somebody has the floor, let them have the respect to do that. They did the same to you. I'm sorry, sir. You are a bit. That's all right. You're coming for us, so that's okay. That's all right. The tree that's in the front yard, what type of tree is that?
The ficus.
The ficus tree. Okay, so it's not invasive. It's an invasive species.
Oh, it's ripped up pipes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
That answers the question.
I almost took it down 3 years.
That would have been great. But yeah, it's a ficus tree. So let's not, I'm going to make a couple points here. Let's separate the Airbnb argument out of this. Well, first off, I don't buy that. You still didn't really answer my question as far as why your name was on the advertising.
I'm the only one that could advertise. I'm the only broker.
Right. So you had no problem with the Airbnb before, and now you do.
It was not an Airbnb.
It was advertised as an Airbnb. It was not?
No, it was not.
What was it?
It was advertised as a property for sale that somebody else can do an Airbnb. And there's a big distinction. There's a distinction.
I think there is a distinction, but I think you're splitting hairs a little bit. That's okay.
Okay.
It's all right. All right.
It works out there for me.
You basically put it out there as an investment property, potentially could be an Airbnb. Is that fair?
I cannot deny that.
Okay, good. It's probably wise not to. Look, as far as beauties in the eye of the beholder, this is a nice looking project. Did a really good job as far as what it looks like. That would be an improvement, the look and feel of it, without a doubt. But you are doing something very different than anybody else is doing. As it was pointed out, you are shoehorning this in sideways. You said that the garbage cans would be out front. They can't be out front. They have to be hidden away. That's the city of Deerfield Beach law that we have.
I just know each one's gonna have one, so they mentioned, garbage cans.
No, it would be whatever it may be. Okay. The traffic there with putting the 4 cars in there, while I would hope you would have the turn radius to have people going in and out of there. Reality is you're going to have limited parking. You're trying to put 4 units in there. And, you know, I agree. I don't think it's right for people to bring up these issues as far as what the man does for a living or anything like that, or belittling somebody because they're a real estate entrepreneur. That's fine. What I don't see here at all is what are your hardships? There is none. There isn't a single one. Nothing has changed. There is no hardship. All it is you trying to say, I want this, and justifying it in a way that doesn't make sense for us to go along with this. Your entire presentation doesn't show a single hardship.
So in terms of the pitched roof that creates the side yard setback on the east side, that's correct. I mean, it's an aesthetic reason why we're asking to make it look pretty, make it look coastal, and to comply with the coastal design elements in the city. So he could build it without the variance and just have that flat roof, and then he wouldn't need that variance. So the variance is for 2 feet on the east side, and we submitted a letter of support from that neighbor on the east side that he doesn't have an issue with the 2-foot encroachment on the east side. The remainder of the property is all in compliance. So I would agree in terms of that hardship. It really is an aesthetic reason why we're asking, and he could build it without that pitched roof and have a flat roof, which is a lot less expensive for a property owner to build, but really it's to make it look nice. In terms of the minimum lot width, the hardship there, that's not self-created. I mean, these lots were platted this way on the barrier island, and I wouldn't think it would be the intention at the time for those lots to be that size for the RM 25 zoning district. So it's really conceivable that anybody that would redevelop these lots would need a variance. It's my understanding that there have been variances granted for the minimum lot width, because this isn't something that is self-created. This is something that was platted many, many years ago, and now it's in the RM 25 zoning district, which would really, it's not the intention for that type of restriction.
I'm going to have to strongly disagree on that. As far as this, what is self-created is you come with a project that doesn't fit the dimensions that are widely known. And to me, that is not this was not a hardship. It was not a surprise. Everybody, you knew what it was when you decided the plot. Knowing what the plot is, you decided to lay this project out the way it was. And now you're trying to tell me that, well, the lots are really small and therefore they deserve the variance. I don't agree with you on that respect. So I don't see the hardship here. I understand that you have the ability to trade off on the aesthetic, but what concerns me a little bit also is the ability to try to make these decisions here on the fly. I don't have to sell these units. I don't have to do this. To me, it doesn't come across as a clear plan. It doesn't come across as something that is going to hold together down the road and benefit the community. I don't believe in this full, we want families to move to Barrier Island. Let's be real. Very expensive lots, the way they are now, to redevelop in there, and you think you're going to have a couple of kids on trikes, and then highly unlikely. The reality is when there's going to be a change, it's going to be a change, and it won't have the same feel. And the houses are different, and they're probably, in need of an upgrade without a doubt. But this project doesn't fit, in my opinion. It doesn't fit. Traffic is just going to be generated, and I don't see a traffic study. I may have missed it in the backup, but I didn't see a traffic study that says that.
This project went through DRC, And it doesn't require a traffic study because it's so de minimis. There's only 4 units, and so the city code doesn't require it to have it because
It's
it's
not a
very.
requirement, it probably would have been helpful in this argument, but,
If I may,
yes, ma'am.
if there are items that think that still need to be fleshed out, I would, I'm sure my client would agree to table it tonight so that we would have the opportunity to discuss exactly the plan of action in terms of the restriction on the Airbnb and leasing, if that would be something of an option if we felt like that would be worthwhile pursuing. I would like to also mention that somebody else had said that this would be a building right on the street. And it's 40 feet from the building to the edge of the road. It's not right on top of the street. And also all 4 units, all 4 townhouse units, they all have 2-car garages. There are 2, so behind each 2-car garage, there's 2 parking spaces. So now you have 16 spaces, so you have 8 cars in garages. Then you can have 8 cars behind those garages, just like, it's pretty much like just how everybody else functions in terms of parking. And when you go anywhere else, even where I live in my development, and we have cars in the garage, and then you have cars, when your friends or family come over, that they park behind you in the driveway. And there's also, and then they leave. That's true.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. I think what you're doing is you're creating a parking nightmare, and it would not be ideal. It would be a constant musical chairs of moving cars to be able to move. And I don't think that's an ideal situation for anyone, especially when you're spilling out of the street that is used quite frequently. That's where the parking study, the traffic study, and something that's small, considering how frequently that street is used, may have helped you a little bit on this. But at this point, I don't see how you would have my support. But if you want to table it, or if the rest of my commissioners want to speak, certainly we can figure out where we're at from there.
Just if I could for a second.
Sure.
So let's say we table it or don't table it, that's your decision to make here. Would the neighbors and would the city itself be better off? Let's say I said, I don't want a variance, right? I'm just gonna build a single family home there. And like 38% of the homes that are on those streets, I build a home, and attached to the home, there's 3 or 4 more doors that are attached, and people can rent those units. That would be totally acceptable. And that would be no variances needed. And that would be no architectural reviews, and that would be no approvals needed. How would this city in the area benefit from something like that? And that's totally within the right of anybody who owns a lot of different buildings. I'm trying to understand where the city wants to go with Deerfield Beach. I mean, is it a beach you don't want more people coming to? Is it restaurants and businesses in support of only single-family homes with bicycles and dogs?
Here's what I would say what I support. I support not giving variance to somebody who's trying to shoehorn something in an area that doesn't fit. It's about compatibility. You don't have compatibility here at all, in my opinion. If you want to go ahead and say that that's what you want to do moving forward, that's the approach you want to take, go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is, it's not, you keep saying shoehorn.
Yes.
This property has.
You're fitting 6 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound bag, in my opinion. It doesn't work. You chose that. That's your route. You can say it's for aesthetic reasons, but I don't believe that. That's my opinion.
But as an example, let's say on the east side, we're asking for a variance to go from 12 to 10.
Right.
10 is what was called for. At the end of the day, when I have my variance, it still would be 10. And I still have my 10 feet and my 30 feet from the other property line, my 40 feet from the front of the street, my 25 feet from the back. I think you're characterizing it a little bit wrong, saying it's shoehorn. I think it.
Okay.
I mean, everybody, it's just difference of opinion.
No, yeah, it's a difference of opinion. I'm the guy that has the vote.
So
we'll see how it goes. Mr. Powers, do you want to address that? What would potentially happen if they came before us with that type of proposal?
Eric Power, Director of Planning Development Services, City of Deerfield Beach. Sir, are you referring to a proposal which didn't require the pitch roof and side setback?
Right.
Okay. So the city code schedules setbacks in section 9861 does specifically reference RM 25 single family dwelling units east of the intercoastal waterway and RM 25 multifamily units under 1 acre, and does provide them to be a separate regulation than say anywhere else in the city that has the same zoning. Something that Ms. Gray alluded to with the variance setback schedule is that these properties historically were built as single family homes, but have a multifamily zoning district designation. So in order for a multifamily property to exist on what has been historically what you consider a single family sized lot, a variance most likely would be required for some reason, for setbacks for some reason. And that is what the first variance request is for. It's actually just 2 variants. I don't think I'm muddled a little bit tonight, but there's 2 variance requests tonight. Regardless of the side setback, there's still the request for the multifamily home on this lot because of the width of the right of way, because it doesn't meet the current dimensional regulations for width of right of way. And that's not a hardship on themselves because it's existing, right? So, but anyways, as said that,
that would not be considered a hardship.
It can't be considered a hardship as self-created. How's that? I'm sorry, just to say that because the lot exists in size. Yeah, right. So anyways, regarding to the particular setbacks, they do meet all the requirements for the RM multifamily under 1 acre east of the coastal waterway setback regulations, with the exception of the side setback for 2 feet, because in the schedule it states that is plus 1 foot for each 2 feet of building height above 20 feet. This property is just above that 20-foot regulation, which requires it to step back further. So, hypothetically, if the property was shorter, whether it was a flat roof or skinnier, then they wouldn't need that particular setback requirement, and this project wouldn't need that variance.
It would still need the multifamily.
It would still need the multifamily.
Thank you. Okay, on that, I appreciate it. Now, to the gentleman's point, that if you were to build a single family home there, that ran out all the roads.
Well, unfortunately, state law, preempts that. So there really isn't anything the city can do in that nature.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. Commissioner Drosky.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, this is fun. Not to make light of the situation, but I think with all of the information that's floating around, I'd like to take the applicant up on the offer to table this. I'd like to know more of what this restriction, what form it would take. We're doing a lot on the fly here, and that's one thing that this commission has not done, is do things on the fly. We'd like to do our research and know what we're getting into, and if there's questions about this restriction and what form it would take and how many years it would be, that's something that we need to do more research on and not do on the fly sitting here tonight. We can get into the variances and all the other great points that the residents made tonight, but I think this needs more consideration, so I would make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion. Second. Commissioner Hudak, did you want to speak?
Yeah, I still don't see the hardship.
Well, if this goes, let's go ahead and vote on this and discuss that for the next time. The motion, for the second, we have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes. I'll leave you guys.
Okay, Okay, the next item on the agenda is item number 6, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, adopting an amendment to the city budget for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2021, approving supplemental appropriations and budget transfers in the amount of $2,341,275 from the building fund to the general fund to reimburse the general fund for the prior year's building fund expenditures, and $1,920,226 from the fund balance of the general fund to the general fund appropriations in order to cover the fiscal year 2020 encumbered purchase orders that were carried forward to fiscal year 21, providing for conflict severability and an effective date. This is first reading.
Commission, you have any comments before you use the public? Let's see, anyone from the public here to comment on this item? We close it to the public. We will call. Sure. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Item number 7 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 3, Officials, Officers, and Employees, Division 2, Travel Expenditures Policy, to provide for the adoption of travel policies and procedures by resolution, and to provide for consistency with state law, providing for conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date. This is second reading.
Public will care to comment on this item. See the hands. Now see the commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm going to close. I thought I did. I'll close the public hearing again. We have a motion in a second. Can we, all in favor, say aye?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Item number 8 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the updated city travel policies and procedures, providing for implementation, conflicts, and an effective date. This is the policies and procedures document by resolution that was mentioned in the prior ordinance you just passed.
From the public here to comment on this item. Not seeing anyone, closes the public. Commission.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Item number 9 is an ordinance of the City Commission in the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, adopting an amendment to the city budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2021, establishing a special revenue fund for the American Rescue Plan Act funds allocation in the amount of $16,284,885 and approving supplemental appropriations, providing for conflict severability and effective date. Second reading on this ordinance.
Anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. We have roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak,
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Item number 10 is an ordinance of the City Commission in the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 6, Code Enforcement, Division 2, Special Magistrate, Section 2-357, Code Enforcement, Special Magistrate Jurisdiction and Authority of the City Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 70, Water Conservation, Section 70-163, Year-round landscape irrigation conservation measures, to make Section 70-163 subject to the code enforcement process in Chapter 2 of the City Code, providing for conflict severability codification and an effective date. Second reading.
Anyone from the public here to comment on this item? Commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Item number 11 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 98 Land Development Regulations, Article 4 Supplemental Regulations, Section 98-103 Reasonable Accommodation Procedures of the City Land Development Code to update the reasonable accommodation procedures, providing for conflict severability codification and effective date. Second reading.
Is there anyone from the public here to comment on this item? I'll close it to the public. Commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Okay, we are now at the public comment portion of tonight's agenda. Persons addressing the commission shall state his or her name and address and may speak for 3 minutes unless extended for 1 additional minute by the mayor. As a reminder, this is the time for public comment on items that are not on the agenda. Public comment on items that are on the agenda should be done after that agenda item is called and the public comment period is open for that agenda item. No comment shall be made related to the personal life or personal qualities of any person, and no language which would offend persons of ordinary sensibilities shall be permitted.
Good evening.
I've had my shots. My name is Linda Ruiz. I live at the Palms of Deerfield, 425 Northwest First Terrace, Deerfield Beach, 33441. I'm coming to you today, Mayor Gantz. I'd like a request, which is if you would reiterate the word respect. I'm not calling any particular name at this time, but to your staff. I came to City Hall last week and I had an appalling welcome. As far as I'm concerned, at the end of the day, you wear a shirt and tie. I wear a work shirt and trousers. We're no different. Like the saying is, we're all in this together, no matter what it is. And I was really disappointed at my welcome. I came to ask the question and I got an attitude back, but with an answer. And just like I respect you and your staff, as a person of the public, I expect to be respected the same way. We might not agree with each other at the end of the day, but you respect me and I'll respect you. So I'm just asking you to reiterate the fact, the word respect, period, for your staff as well, after we discuss this in private myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else from the public who would care to comment? Any public speakers? Okay, I'm going to close it to the public then.
Okay, we are now at the consent portion of tonight's agenda. This is for items 12, 14, and 15. As a reminder, item 13 was tabled and removed from the agenda. What is the pleasure of the commission?
Are there any polls from the commission? No, on 12, 14, and 15? No. Is there anyone from the public who care to comment on item number 12, 14, and 15? Okay, I'm going to close it to the public. Looking for a motion on items 12, 13.
Motion to approve those items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All, let's do roll call.
Commissioner Drosky,
What is the motion? Because I think we have the wrong numbers.
I'm sorry, 12, 14, and 15. We have a motion and a second to approve items 12, 14, and 15. Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Rea,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston,
Yes.
Mayor Gantz.
Yes.
Item number 16 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, approving the special event permit application submitted by Yolanda Velasquez for her wedding at the Deerfield Beach Observation Deck on June 26, 2021, from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., providing for an effective date.
Mr. City Manager, any comments on this?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. So this is a special event application. As a while back, we did amend our regulations to allow for weddings on the newly redone observation deck. Obviously, this being a wedding, the request is obviously, but customarily, I think this being a wedding, they're requesting for to have alcohol at the event, and that does require commission approval. I will say that if this, as we move forward with these beach weddings and that it being a customary practice, we may want to consider looking at that specific location so that these do not have to come before you every time we do a wedding on the observation deck. And I would just bring that to the commission's attention for consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who care to comment on this item? Yes, Katie.
Katie Freitag, 418 Southeast 2nd Street, Deerfield Beach, Florida, 33441. My husband and I just celebrated our 15th wedding anniversary. We were lucky enough to get married on the beach in Deerfield, and it was the most stunning backdrop for all of our pictures and our fabulous wedding. Our family and friends enjoyed every bit of it. And I really hope that you approve this so that they can also have a fabulous evening to start out their new life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else from the public who would care to comment on this item? Not seeing any, I'll close it to the public. Commissioner Goodell?
Yeah, I looked in the backup, but my invitation was not included. But I do want to wish them all the best, and I will be taking a motion to.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Item number 17 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Deerfield Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 8 Local Housing Assistance Program of the City Code of Ordinances to provide for consistency with state law, providing for codification, severability, conflicts, and effective date. This is first reading.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who care to comment on this item? Commission.
Motion to approve.
And close it to the public. Sorry. Do a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
We are now at comments by administration and legal. No comments from legal tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to just remind the commission that our emergency declaration will expire in just a few days without the intent of renewing that at this point. I do also want to apologize in advance as the amendments that are on the agenda do have an error. The sponsor is Vice Mayor Preston. So when we do get those items, those were sponsored by the Vice Mayor. Also, and I apologize if I'm going to be stealing anybody's thunder. So I'll allow, I think, Vice Mayor Preston to speak on Juneteenth, as that will be coming up this weekend. We've also started advertising our 4th of July event, now having the final approvals from the county and school board, which will be held at Quiet Waters Park. And we are encouraging our residents to get out there between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. So the gates will open for our residents and Deerfield Beach residents only between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. And then following that will be open to all participants in the event. Tomorrow night, there will be we will be hosting Senator Farmer at the Vita McKeithen Recreational Complex, who will be providing us with a legislative recap. And I do want to just remind the commission of the budget workshops coming up this coming Monday and Tuesday. And in the beginning of the presentation, or towards the beginning of the presentation, before we get into the departmental requests, I would like to, and I ask that each one of the commissioners consider some of their budget initiatives and some of the things that they would like to see in the budget this year, and provide to me and staff that feedback, so we may hopefully include all those things in the fiscal year 22 budget and beyond. And with that, I have no more comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now at the addendum section. Item number 18 is a discussion and potential action regarding the use of the Vita McKeithen Recreational Complex football field and gym by the Bryce Gowdy Foundation, who is seeking a waiver of field usage fees.
Nice. Vice Chair, you sponsor this?
I did. And you well know that around this time of year, we lost Price County tragically. And since then, there has been a number of initiatives centered around suicide prevention. I've been talking to Bryce's mom. She requested the use of the Obeah-McKeithen Recreational Complex football field and gym, and additionally the Hillsborough Beach. The Hillsborough Community Club. And ESPN is coming down to do some filming, and it's all centered around chronicling his life, his time here in the city of Deerfield Beach. He's a Deerfield Beach kid. Went to Deerfield Beach High School with a lot of promise to go on in football, and unfortunately, we lost him. So, you know, I would ask that we waive these fees for a very good cause, I believe to be.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would care to comment on item number 18? I'll close it to the public. Commission comments. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve for item 18. Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky?
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak?
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston?
Yes.
Mayor Dan?
Yes.
Item number 19 is discussion and potential action regarding the use of Hillsborough Community Center by the Bryce County Foundation.
Vice Mayor, I believe that. Oh, I don't know if you, this is the same line.
Okay.
This is.
Motion to approve.
No, well, no, you don't necessarily have to. I'm sorry. I just wasn't sure if you want to make any other comments on this. Okay, no problem. Is there anyone from the public who care to comment on this item? Not seeing anyone, close it to the public.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Let's do roll call, please.
Commissioner Drosky?
Yes.
Commissioner Hudak?
Yes.
Commissioner Parnas?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Preston?
Yes.
Mayor Dan?
Yes.
We are now at comments by mayor and city commission.
Okay, let's start with District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only comment I have is, first of all, I want to wish everybody a wonderful summer. We will not be meeting until July 20th. I will not be in town from July 17th to the 24th. So I can attend via Zoom, or we can move the meeting, or I can ask for an excuse absence, because I will be in New York. So I just wanted the commission to be aware of that. That's all I have.
Enjoy. District 2.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to advise the public, as well as my colleagues, that the Juneteenth inaugural celebration is coming up. We're going to be celebrating on the 18th and the 19th. On the 18th, there is a banquet of which all of the commissioners here invited at the DoubleTree. That's at 7 o'clock, and that's going to take place on the 18th. I have been told now there are no more tickets available. It is a sellout, so if there's anybody from the public that wishes to attend this, they will be unable to do so. The Juneteenth celebration, the Freedom Celebration, has received a lot of attention in City of Deerfield Beach. I've got multiple calls on it, and actually from all of the districts. And there are some in your district, Commissioner Drosky, that because of this, so they want to get involved in city activities, in terms of serving on boards and that type of thing. And I'm very excited about that. We, as a board, did something very unique, and like I said, I'm receiving all kinds of calls of support, that we celebrate this. And it has come from multiple districts. So I'm very proud of, first, my colleagues, that we debated this thing and we made it a city holiday. I thank you, the residents of the city. Thank you. I was at a football game in Boca Raton, and there was a family there, and I don't want to categorize and I don't want to stereotype, but I wouldn't have thought they would have known about Juneteenth, but they did, and they told me that they're going to be a part of it and they were going to celebrate. So, this is something that is important to reach out to every segment of our community. And it was said at the time when we were passing, I think it came from you, about the consideration of making this an educational component, not to let our community be divided, because if they don't know, they can become divided. So many people have come forward and asking for more knowledge on this, so it's been really good. Again, the banquet is on the 18th. The parade will follow on the 19th at 12 p.m., of which all the commissioners will be on the float. And it will start at Pioneer Park. It will go up the Federal Highway, come down to Hillsborough Boulevard, go west to Oviedo McKeithen, and there it will end. And there is a lineup of different things that will be available for the day. The short film that was done by Maverick Entertainment, Mr. Doug Schwab, I thank him and Maverick for all that they've done to make this a success. And there were multiple donors to this to make our inaugural celebration a success. It was tough because we initially started planning this with a pandemic in place. So it was that we initially thought that there would be no parade and that there would be limited contact. And everything basically was centered around that. And then things started to change and we began to have a different strategy. So I don't know if my colleagues know this, but as a result of what we did, I talked to a reporter yesterday from Channel 10 who said that we were the first city to do it, but since we've done it, other cities have done it. And they have followed suit. So again, and I'd like to thank staff as well in preparing this. Mr. City Manager, I thank you and staff for helping to work with this. The African American Heritage Board was very, very instrumental in putting this event together. And I know there were some challenges with getting that together. This is the first time that we've had a board like this that was been able to work like they worked. Commissioner Parnes, the representative that you sent to the board, Lawyer Dossola, done an outstanding job.
Thank you.
She's just done an outstanding job. It's been really, really awesome. And so I'm looking forward to a great celebration in our inaugural Juneteenth Freedom Celebration. And so just come on out and have a good time and just enjoy yourself. This is an important day, and I think it can be something that we can all enjoy. Thank you, Mayor.
Awesome. Thank you, Wes. District 3?
Yes, I have a bone to pick. We do a parade in 1, we do a parade in 2. When's the last time there was a parade in District 3? We have 20% of the seniors that live in this city live in District 3. How about planning a parade next year and have a senior day and an event? What's wrong with that? Maybe I'm getting a little tired of District 3 being ignored when it comes to celebrations. I go to every parade. Every parade, we started at Pioneer Park, we started in the Cove, we wind up at Makita Park. What's wrong with District 3? We're people.
It's a long way away.
We're talking, oh, it's a long way
I
away.
was kidding.
I'm gonna remember that
Oh,
next
just
Saturday.
No, just kidding, just kidding.
I'll hire a team of mules to drag me across the District 2 for the parade.
I think you make a great point. I'm in.
Okay, good. I would appreciate it if the event planning people would plan such an event next year in District 3. I think those citizens are deserving of a little recognition. That's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Grassley, District 4.
I don't know where I can rent mules, but I am so looking forward to seeing this.
Well, us seniors don't have cars yet. We're still riding on mules.
Vice Mayor, thank you for all your efforts on putting Juneteenth together. Unfortunately, Friday night, I'm going to miss the banquet. I will be there Saturday for the parade. Fear not. My brother and his family are in town this Friday, and I have not seen my nieces and nephew in a year and a half. And Friday is Uncle Todd Day, so I can't say no to a 3, a 5, and an 8-year-old. I apologize, but I will be there Saturday. Trust me, you can't get rid of me that easily.
There will be no parade for Uncle Todd. Just one donkey.
They may be screaming on the float with me on Saturday, so careful what we wish for. I have some other comments here. One, in no particular order, I've been getting calls this week regarding the mailer that's gone out regarding the Service Line Warranty of America program. Just to the residents that are getting that mailer, it is a legit program. It is not sponsored, as it says in the materials, by the city of Deerfield Beach. It's a voluntary program. But for those that are getting it and are just wondering, is this a fraud or coming from a legitimate company? The answer is no, it is legitimate. It is a voluntary program, and it's up to you to decide based upon your individual needs whether to participate. But the mailing you are receiving is a legitimate company. In addition, all of my colleagues should have also received from Broward County a flyer regarding the emergency rental assistance program that is going on due to COVID-19. If you or any of your neighbors or you know of somebody that is still struggling because of COVID-19 financially, the county does have a rental program. It's eligible for household incomes from $0 to $92,950. So it's a pretty expansive program. You can apply and participate by going to broward.org/rent/assistance or call 888-692-7203. It's a worthwhile program. There's dollars to be had that are there for the taking. Take advantage of it. If you're struggling, put your pride aside. This is an opportunity to take advantage of a program that the county has put together. And we have one through the city, by the way, too, which is being managed by staff, and those applications are being reviewed as well. I would like to see Mr. City Manager. I don't think it needs to be an agenda item unless my colleagues want it to be, but just an update on the bulk officer that we approved. I know that was not a unanimous selection when we approved that. And I'd just like to see some metrics, how that program is going, to see if that extra officer is still justified. I would also encourage my colleagues to take the city manager's suggestion to be prepared for the budget workshop seriously, to come in with your priorities and your suggestions going forward. I know that I'm going to be very bold. And some of it is not a secret that I made the comments after I was reelected in March. So I'm going to reiterate those priorities plus 1 or 2 more. I think I liken this to it's like baseball in a way. We've been playing small ball for a while now, and you do that when you don't have the talent. The power hitters, but we have the power hitters on this dais, and we've had the power hitter in the mayor for 12 plus years now. And we have a great commission, and it's time that we start playing long ball, this commission, and ditch the small ball. And so I intend to be bold, and I hope you gentlemen will be bold as well with the visions that we have for the city. We tend to get mired in the minutia sometimes, the grant programs, that the people that are coming in asking for the $500 grants, we nickel and dime those to death on a $100 million budget, and we have some great priorities that I think that are out there for the taking. And I'm really looking forward to the discussion. I mean, you may not like anything I have to say, but at least I'm going to make the opportunity to make my pitch, and I suggest that you guys do the same as well. This is an opportunity going forward, and I think there's a real opportunity. And like I said, we have some very prominent people on this commission. I mean, I know, for example, other mayors now call our mayor for advice. He is a source of wisdom in the county, and so that's something that we need to take advantage of. And I think we have the talent here, and I think we need to start playing long ball, like I said, going forward. Saturday, July 3rd, even though it is the day before a holiday, I will be having my office hours. So they can be by Zoom. I prefer that as we start opening up that I'll be here physically at City Hall. So you're more than welcome to come to City Hall. I'm pretty sure that Erica is close to booking all 4 appointments, but I told her to just keep going. If people want to keep meeting with me, then continue. It's supposed to be from 10 to noon. Just keep going. Book 12:31 and just keep going until the requests stop. And so that will be Saturday, July 3rd from 10 to noon. You can reach out to the city manager's office. Of course, you don't have to wait to the first Saturday of every month to meet with me. You can do so at any time. My email and phone are not any secret. In fact, my personal cell is on 20,000 brochures circulating from 2017, so it's not hard to find me. Because we're not meeting until late July, I just want to also bring out that Saturday, July 17th, BSO is having a shred-a-thon here in the city of Deerfield Beach. Our Captain Rodley Grimlow is hoping to sponsor that. So not only is it a shred-a-thon, but it's also, they're calling it Operation Medicine Cabinet, where you can bring your unused or unwanted medications for safe disposal, and in turn, you'll get a gift card. It says for $5 to wear and what? I don't know, but $5 is better than you flushing it down in the toilet and contaminating the water supply. And last but not least, for District 4, I am proud to announce that on Sunday, June 27th, from 9 to 10:30 a.m., we're going to be a community cleanup in District 4. So maybe there'll be a certificate for a District 4 cleanup instead of all of the beach cleanups. No offense, Commissioner Grudak. It will be at the Trailhead Park, which is the linear park, roughly between Southwest 10th Street and Green Road on the west side. The Advocates for Clean and Clear Waterways will be bringing approximately 20 volunteers as well. And I know the city, through its volunteer email list and social media, will be promoting this as well. I know at the end of June, it's going to be a little warm, 9 to 10:30, hopefully it won't be too bad. Hopefully it won't be raining like the crazy weather we've had the last 2 days. And we'll have a good turnout, and there's a lot of debris that builds up in that park. You wouldn't necessarily know it from driving by, but if you were to actually, get out and walk it, all the garbage trucks that are going up and down Powerline Road to go to Mount Trashmore, the debris falls off of there. Careless people throw things out their window, and it all collects along that park. And then you have the trees that separate the park from the lake that's behind there, and the trees actually just act as like a big catch basin for all that debris that goes there. So it's a never ending story with respect to debris in that park. We could be there for that hour and a half, and you come back the next morning, and it looks like nobody was probably ever there, but at least it's an opportunity out west to do a little bit of good and help clean up nature at the same time. Other than that, that's all that I have. I wish everybody a happy Independence Day as well, and have a good summer vacation, although I don't think it's much of a vacation for us electeds, but we'll do it again in July. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I forgot one thing.
Sure.
And this is for you guys up there. Tomorrow, the county is having a commission meeting.
It was today, actually.
No, I was going to Lamar for some reason. I don't know why, but it is. We tried to get it on the air this morning, and they said postpone on Wednesday. So maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it said on the TV. Is an item. being proposed by a commissioner. Imagine all our insurance companies fix the sick. They really don't do total preventive medicine. Imagine all of us, various ages, being able to go to the hospital, getting our heart totally checked out by a $4 million machine that can measure how much your arteries are clogged, how good your heart is, etc., before you have the heart attack. It can detect this so that you don't have the heart attack. It's called preventative medicine, not fix the heart after he has the heart attack. How many lives would be saved? There's a proposal for half a penny tax in the future, where that any resident of Broward County will make an appointment, go in and get fully checked out for cancer, heart disease, clogged arteries, complete up to the minute test with the best equipment in the world before you have the heart attack or the stroke, not after. Our insurance, oh yeah, if you have a stroke or the hospital, we'll pay for this one, but that's after the fact. How about before the fact? How about preventative medicine instead of fixing after you're sick? Would that be worth at least looking into? And that's what's being discussed. I think it's a great idea, being a senior especially. But when I look at my insurance coverage, and I'm very happy with it, pretty much everything is after you're sick. How about preventing that by getting the test before it's necessary, before you can't breathe, before you fall down?
I believe that's Commissioner Bowman.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it is. I think it's something that we should be looking into, and if we agree, getting the public to support it. Because I personally think it will save a lot of lives and a lot of heartache by having preventative medicine instead of our current system.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's certainly, I'm curious to see how that went over with them. I did talk to Commissioner Lamar Fisher this evening, and they were in the middle of their commission meeting.
Was it? Okay, so the TV was wrong this morning.
I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe it's leading over into tomorrow, but I do know that the Monarch Hill item that was on the county agenda was tabled today. So those of you who have concerns about what they're looking to do with waste management in that facility over there, which is, I think, a good thing. It's not something that I think as a city we should be supporting and expanding that landfill. And hopefully the county commissioners will agree with that as well. When it comes to parades, quite frankly, somebody who's lived and represented District 4 for many years, I can't think of the last parade we had in District 4.
Us Western people get shared.
But I will say this, it is from a logistics, we have a small one in our park over there occasionally, but for the most part, it is a logistical nightmare to do it in other areas of the city. So I think it's more, everybody wants to spread the love around, but it can be very difficult to do that. But speaking of spreading the love around, we'll talk about July 4th. July 4th will not be at the beach this year. It will be at Quiet Waters Park, which will be a unique opportunity for the people who live in the western portion of the city, because many of them will be able to watch from their backyards. And we all know the problems that we've had. Certainly COVID adds a layer of concern with it, and you have to plan ahead. You have to plan ahead for the conditions as they exist at the time, not necessarily, especially with something like a pandemic, where they're going to be as you go forward. So the fact that we were able to get the approval to do this at Quiet Waters Park, and I think that's great that we have the opportunity to put it in a different area of the city. Before, as we said about the problems we have in the beach area, 90,000 people on 4th of July, we only have 80,000 in the entire city. It's very difficult to manage. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I do want to make sure that BSO, and I know I've talked to staff, I want to make sure they're aware of this. There is a luxury car company here in Deerfield Beach who has reached out and wants to participate and give back to the city. But my understanding is they're having some events over at People's Trust that are giving back in not a good way. There's been a lot of complaining, I received a letter of complaint about cars racing around, spinning their tires, causing noise issues. I know they have an event over at People's Trust in the parking garage on Saturday evening, so I would hope that we can monitor that, reach out to them, find out what's going on, and David is working on that, looking into it. But if you're going to make everybody aware of it. If the commission agrees, I plan on signing off on the motion that's been suggested by a couple of commissioners at the city of Fort Lauderdale to rename a portion of Davie Boulevard the Reuben Stacy Memorial Boulevard. Reuben Stacy was an African American man who was lynched in 1935. They're going to honor him by renaming a portion of Davie Boulevard. As the mayor of the city, I've been asked if I would sign off to support that, and I plan on doing that as everybody's already. I assume they certainly would. I do want to tell Vice Mayor Preston the Juneteenth feedback I've gotten has been phenomenal as far as the fact that we're taking the initiative to celebrate that holiday. So thank you very much for all that. And the feedback has been great, and I look forward to this weekend. I'm sure it'll be a really cool time in the city. We are still experiencing traffic issues now. Some of this bleeds outside the city of Deerfield Beach. We had a major shutdown that affected the traffic in Deerfield at 18th and Powerline Road recently with a motorcycle accident in which a young woman was killed. And I don't fault BSO because they can't be everywhere, but it is still a major problem, including within our residential areas. And it is COVID madness. I feel that people are back on the streets, they forget about public safety, but something has to be done. It's we're going to have a lot more tragedies if we keep going the way it's been going. So I'm hoping people wise up, and I'm hoping that BSO comes down with an iron fist on those that are not following the rules. With that, I believe that is all the information I have. I want to wish everybody a very happy 4th of July and a safe time. Thank you for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Ruiz, very sorry if you're